Hello, and welcome to another episode of Manifesting with Feng Shui. I am so glad you are here. This is so exciting. We are in season 7. It's a new season. Producer Logan is here. Hey, Logan.
Hi,
how
Christina.
are you?
How are you doing? I'm doing great. Happy to have you here again. We got a little late start today, but I think it was a good ease into the day. So
It's just a little late.
It's all right. It's all right.
It was all meant to happen that way.
Everybody was chill. Everybody was present. That's all that matters.
Yeah. We were 2 hours late, guys, pretty late. But it's all right. Everything, it's perfect timing, right? And to be honest with you, I kept saying, I'm so nervous about the first episode in season 7. I'm so nervous about it. And here's the truth. I am a little bit nervous about this episode. And I'm a numbers person. And so season 7, I kind of already knew going into this season that 7, especially in numerology, it's a number of spirituality and going within. And I was just I know there's going to be a lot of depth to this season. And it's the year of the snake. It's a very transformational year. Whether you're going through it in your career, in where you live, or whatever it is, your relationships. And I knew that there was going to be something that was going to come forward this season that was going to be vulnerable and also very spiritual. And so I have a lot to share with you today that I'm so excited about. I couldn't be happier to be here with you, but I also feel like there's been so much growth and so much expansion since I've seen you last. So the last time I was here in the studio, it was February. It was right before eclipse season. And it was really perfect timing to be in the studio to connect with you. But today, we're just going into the deep end right away. I am going to keep it light at the beginning a little bit. I have to do that for myself. But today's episode is called, I Hired a Psychic Before a Therapist, Why You Will Need Both This Year. And I swear to God, this is a true story because, if you've been here for any amount of time, which by the way, for those of you who have been here for a long time, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening and following this journey since 2022. Actually, season 7, we're going to be hitting our 100th episode this season, which is wild, so exciting, so crazy. So for those of you who have been here forever, thank you. And for those of you who are new here, you came at a very interesting time. So welcome. I'm here to help guide you through the year of the snake, which is, again, very transformational. A 9-year numerology, year of completion, just a really huge year of massive transformation. So before we get into it, and before you hear about, yes, I am going to tell you about my psychic reading because I had it last week. I swear to you, this episode wrote itself over the course of 3 months and it ended with that psychic reading. You have to stay for the end. It's just so wild what came through. And I honestly think you are going to truly benefit from all the things that I've learned in the past few months, honestly. So excited to share it with you and just be open with you about I say this all the time. Feng Shui can't stop life from having challenges. We are spirits having human experiences, and we all came here to have those experiences, and there are going to be challenges and there are going to be obstacles and setbacks. But what Feng Shui can't take that away, but what it can do is it can actually help you to navigate those setbacks and hopefully create some greater ease along your path. And so I feel like the universe was all right, this girl's got a mic. Let's give her some practice. Let's give her some obstacles and some challenges and see how she handles it. So then she can share with others what she's been doing to essentially, I don't want to say get through the year of the snake, but transform through the 2025 year of the snake. It's been a really deep year and really transformational on so many different levels for so many different people. And so I just want to really share some stories with you ways that I've evolved and what has helped me and just take you along for the journey. But before I do that, I really also want to say there's been some massive celebrations in my world that did happen. So even though eclipse season in March personally was just pretty wild personally. Like there was also so much goodness and so many things to celebrate. But before I do that, because honestly, Logan, like I want to tell you about one of the stories. It's so much fun. But how have you been? How was your spring break? I mean, March, April. Now we're
It's been good. I the last time you were here in February, you know, there was a pretty big shift happening, and then kind of near the end of spring, I thought I was kind of through that shift, and then another thing has presented itself that I am now working through. So, you know, it's just another season of some sort of change on the horizon and a little bit of the unknown, and we'll just kind of see where it goes from here.
So, you know, like not to be cliche, but like snakes shed skin. So it's like really uncomfortable sometimes. And I feel like that like discomfort is like what a lot of people are kind of going through. Is that what you feel like? Do you feel like you shed some skin at the beginning of the year and then like now it's like another whole nother evolution? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say I'm shedding some more skin. It's maybe in the early phases of shedding another layer of skin. So maybe it's taking a little longer, or it's just at that starting point. I don't know what it's like for a snake. At what point in the shedding of the skin is it easier or harder, or is it just none of those things? It just is whatever. But yeah, definitely shedding something right now. And maybe, you know, I talked about shedding the identity of photographer last time you were here. And now that's sort of like a professional identity that I was shedding. I think now I might be in this phase of shedding a version of myself. Well, for lack of a better word, an immature version of myself, to be honest. So,
well, you seem pretty mature from the outside, but I guess we all have our different levels of evolution and growth. And so I just think you're so self-reflective, and that's amazing. And I appreciate you sharing that. Because as I was going to say, I'm like, I got a lot of stuff I want to share. It's kind of personal. So like you just sharing that part of yourself is just like so appreciated, because then it just like helps create, of course, this authentic space that you have here. That's why I come here. That's why I come to Texas, guys. Some people don't understand it, but I understand it very deeply because it's a vibe. It's a vibe. Yes. Well, it seems kind of weird just to like go and transition into like some celebrations of the people that have been in my world for the past 3 months. But I really do want to share this. Like one of the biggest things that happened in March was that one of the women who was inside of the Quantum Leaper Mastermind with me for the first round. So the first round of the Quantum Leaper Mastermind were all of my most advanced wealth adjustments and karma clearing adjustments. Stay tuned for that later. There's a lot that goes down with that. One of the women who was in my first cohort, November, December, January, she got the call that she was going to fulfill a childhood dream to go on Wheel of Fortune. And it was so exciting. There were 7 women who were in the Quantum Leaper Mastermind with me. We were all like in this group chat. We were cheering her on, so excited for her. Then when she went to LA to do the filming, she brought some like different Feng Shui, like red envelopes and some good luck charms and put it in the wealth area of her hotel room in LA right before they filmed. She got on the show and killed it. She was like the grand prize winner. Her and Ryan Seacrest were right up there. She won $73,150 and a trip to Costa Rica, which is amazing. I'm like, I can't even believe this. She's actually, you guys, she like teaches me Pilates. Like she is a Pilates instructor in my community. But here's like the best part about this. So not only did she get on Wheel of Fortune, not only did she win the grand prize, but this is what I love the most. When she started the Quantum Leaper Mastermind, I have this intake form and I ask people like, what do you want to be most celebrated for and most known for? And, you know, she had her goals and things that she desired in her life. Luckily, money was one of them. And that seemed to be, you know, fruitful for her through Wheel of Fortune. But one of the biggest things that she wanted to be recognized for is her her career as a Pilates master teacher. And it's just something she was very proud of herself with. And she's really, really good. And actually, she's like, my mom is certified in Pilates. She like helped certify my mom. She's amazing. But here's the thing. We all have areas of our life where we're like, that's our strength. And there's areas that we just struggle with, right? I mean, we all have them, and you're about to hear all about mine in just a few minutes here. But ultimately, like, we have to also celebrate our strengths and like really lean into those. So here was the best part. There was a bonus clip where her and Ryan Seacrest did a plank off. And it's like the best 90-second thing I've ever, actually it's like a full 2 minutes. Cause like she makes Ryan Seacrest do like a full 2-minute plank, and she's like giving him a hard time. She's like, lift your hips. And then she's like, let's go to the other side. It is like the cutest and the funniest little clip that I've ever seen. It's on the Wheel of Fortune, Instagram page, on their site. It's so good. So like celebrating Becky right now, because like, again, not only did she like fulfill a childhood dream, actually, win, but she also was recognized nationally with Ryan Seacrest for like her amazing Pilates instructor ability. She's just such a gem. And this is why I do what I do. And I love it. And, I think sometimes like when I share these kinds of like huge, massive wins, it's like this sparkly, shiny thing about Feng Shui that like can be so compelling and like amazing. But then I also feel like sometimes people are like, okay, well, that's her. How is that going to happen to me? But the truth is like anything can happen. Anything is possible. And so your job is to set your intention and do the Feng Shui adjustment, and then let the universe fill in the details. Let the universe catch up with your dreams. So I just thought I would share that, because that definitely did happen between the last time we filmed to now. And I guess I have more stuff I could definitely be sharing, but since I already know, I have a lot of things to talk about this episode, because once again, I hired a psychic before I hired a therapist, but you will need both this year. And I think that that's where I am going to be the most uncomfortable. I'm putting the most uncomfortable things. I hired 4 people this year to really help me move through the year of the snake. And I feel like, okay, I need to like talk about like the 2 most uncomfortable things I did this year, because again, we are spirits having a human experience. And so I think part of my growth this year is like not just going to what's comfortable, which for me, my comfort zone is like hiring the astrologer, hiring the numerologist, hiring the human design person, and a psychic. I actually never saw a psychic medium, but that's my comfort zone. And then the uncomfortable thing was definitely being like, maybe I need to like talk to a therapist. Okay. So that was new for me. It's actually not so bad, but, I can't wait to talk to you a little bit more about really a key takeaway, something that I've actually learned, because I feel like there's a lot of people, particularly women, who are listening right now, that I like, my intention is not just to like share everything about my life with you just so that you can get caught up, even though I do feel like I want to catch you up. I also want you to feel like you can take something from this, and that you can see yourself and what it is that I share with you today. So that being said, I guess I'm going to dive right in, but I also wanted to read one review really quick from a listener who has been here from the beginning, which, by the way, I really appreciate your reviews. So please leave a review this season, especially if you're an Apple Podcast listener. I would just love to hear your feedback, especially now that like this season, I'm just going to say it, I feel like it's different. Okay. So I want you to be honest. I want you to let me know how you feel about the show, because I don't just do this for me. I really am showing up for you, for our community. I feel a deep sense of responsibility to share my journey and to share my story with you and to help you. I know it's like, okay, to help you manifest the Feng Shui. But the truth is, I came from a lot of scarcity and a lot of limiting beliefs. And it wasn't until I discovered Feng Shui that I realized that like abundance is your birthright. And there's a lot of different manifesting methods out there, but like Feng Shui is the method that has worked for me. So I've just gone all in on it. And I'm just sharing my journey with you and like helping you to see how it can work for you. You literally get to design the life you deserve. You literally get to reimagine your life, set your intention, do the feng shui adjustment, and then allow the universe to catch up with your dreams. But it's not always a transactional process, and it's not always like linear, and sometimes it's uncomfortable. And that's the realness of what I want to share with you today and this whole season. Is like, how do you achieve your dreams, experience the biggest manifestations of your life that you're dreaming of? Well, you're going to have to evolve and become a different version of yourself in order to receive the abundance, receive the love, receive whatever it is that you are calling in. So that's what I'm here to help you through today. And we can't do it alone. But what I wanted to share with you is just real quick, a listener left a review and it really touched me. It really like made a mark on my heart because she's been listening for 3 years. And she said, I've been listening to Christina for over 3 years now, and I love the journey. I followed along on Instagram and on her podcast. She's been working on herself as she helps others improve their lives. I've done some of her programs and love them all. She simplifies feng shui practices and makes it super applicable in modern day. Her suggestions do work. They do. My life has been smoother and easier by applying feng shui adjustments and trusting the universe to take care of the rest. And that was from Angel. And so Angel, I just want to say thank you so much. And I think the thing that really, like, obviously I love the impact that feng shui has made on your life. The fact that you resonate with the way I teach it is such an honor. But you know, the fact that you've like recognized, you're like, she's been working on herself. It's like, if you've been watching and witnessing my life and my journey over the past 3 years, like I've been really leaning into my biggest dreams, and it's been really freaking scary sometimes. And I just want to take you behind the curtain because I just don't feel like I have done that enough with you. I feel like I literally had a mom. So we were at like my kids' elementary school dance. It was a neon lights dance party. And of course, you know, my kids are 5th grade and 1st grade. My daughter's leaving elementary school now, but we're literally standing in the dance floor. And this mom approaches me and she's just like, Christina, she's like, I have to tell you, like, you inspire me so much. She's like, you are like, you know how like you love Gabby Bernstein? She's like, you're like my Gabby Bernstein. I was like, oh my God, what? And she's like, I just don't know how you do it. She's like, you're just so confident. And she's like, you're so like, you're just so like put together and you have it all figured out. I was like, oh my God. I'm like thinking to myself, I am like not doing a good job of showing you like what is actually going on. But it was just so heartwarming. But she also said like, she's like, I was having anxiety and I was having so many struggles. And when I tuned into your podcast, you introduced me to David G, which he was a guest on the show, I think twice the entire time of the show. Like he's incredible. David G meditation. And like, she's like, you've introduced me to so many tools that have given me so much hope and made me feel so much more grounded. And the moment she said all of this to me on the dance floor at the elementary school, I was just like, okay, this is important. Like, it's important to share my journey. It's important to share my process and also to like keep showing up because like it doesn't get old to hear like it's making a difference. So yeah, that was like my sign. Like you guys have to understand, I've like replayed this episode in my head like 500 times, so much so that I actually think I've rehearsed this episode more than I've rehearsed the other ones in my head. So just because it's so like real and just taking you through my journey. So let's go. I hired a psychic before I hired a therapist, and you probably need both this year. So Logan, I'm going to call you in before I get into the first person I hired as a therapist. And I'm not just calling you in because you're married to a therapist. But I actually, it's not really about therapy. And I'm sure, by the way, like I have like had 5 sessions of therapy. So just like, don't laugh at me. I'm going to be like, totally, I'm so new at this stuff. But I wanted to ask you more about like spiritual bypassing actually, because I don't know if I've for sure been doing this, but because my natural tendency is to be like, I'm going to go see an astrologer or a psychic, hiring a therapist was very new for me, right? So then like this term spiritual bypassing came into my field of like, maybe I was spiritually bypassing some stuff. So I was just curious to know if you've ever heard of this, because I know you've been like in both worlds, like you're spiritual, you've done all the things. Do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it happens, often. I think you can also go the other way where you can just keep yourself in a loop in therapy and constantly just be grinding through the same stuff over and over again because you're never actually getting out of your mind. I think, and Casey will attest to this, my wife, and that's why she practices both and incorporates both the mental and the spiritual work, is because to transcend the mind, you can't do it through the mind, but you also need to understand your patterns and know why you are the way that you are. And so that's, for me, therapy was great because it helped me to understand those things and understand just even getting the terminology of like trauma and inner child and things like that to help kind of start that work and start that process. But then at some point, for my journey and my experience, it was, well, now I need to like release this energy. I need to connect to that higher version of myself, because for me, therapy was like understanding all the lower versions of myself as to why I was in that. And then without having a connection to that higher self, to the divine, to God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, that's where the spiritual journey came in for me, because otherwise I would have just like stayed in this like no man's land of like, yeah, okay, I understand all of this stuff, lower self stuff that I am, but now I need to connect to the higher me. And that came with like my spiritual path. And then it's ongoing work. I mean, I mentioned it, I'm kind of in a thing right now of I have these moments of slipping back into old patterns, and I'm just like, why is this still occurring in a way? Like, I know better. I've done the work. I've done therapy. I've also connected to my higher self. And I know in the moments when these things are happening that I'm like, this shouldn't be happening. Like, this is ridiculous. And so I think it takes, I don't know. It's also, I'm recognizing for me as a man that a big part of that was I never really have connected with other men that really are versions or potential versions of what I want to be. That initiation, like into manhood, really, I never really got. And that's why men's groups, I think, are so important. And I have neglected myself in that way. And so I think that's sort of my next step of like, oh, this isn't just about therapy and figuring out who I am and then connecting to my higher self, but also like, who inspires me to be a better man? Who are those people I want to be around? We talk about it in business all the time, like put yourself in a room of millionaires if you want to be a millionaire. Well, there's a version of a man that I want to be that I haven't put myself around those types of men, and I need to do that.
That is so Aquarius North Node of you. Like community wanting to like, and you're also like a pioneer. You're like so like ahead of your time. I think that I have a lot of female listeners here, and I think it's so healing to have like a male presence that's so conscious, and so like it's just so incredible what the work that you do, and like sharing your voice is it's such an honor to have you chime in on the show, because it really makes a huge impact. I really do believe that.
Thank you. I mean, I told you from the get-go, no client or anybody has ever asked me to do this with them. And it just, before I had even really kind of met you, I mean, we had talked on the phone, but never in person, or we had our Zoom calls. It just felt right. I was like, yeah, sure. That sounds like a great idea. Let's do you want to know
why? Do you want to know what the inspiration was? Like, this is a true story. We had met over Zoom, and I was like, whatever. We were trying to figure out like if I could come out here to batch record, and we settled it in like a day. It was like easy breezy. And I think it was just like, so I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, but I listen to Gabby Bernstein's podcast. And I think, and like when I say I listen to it, I've listened to a few episodes. I'm not a big podcast listener. And, she's had her producer Josh on the show, like a lot, like her and Josh go way back. He's produced like all these different like meditations and stuff. Like I just know Josh, and I was like, Okay, Gabby has Josh on her show. That's cool. I like it. I'll have Logan be on my show. And I swear to God, like we did not know each other. So thank you for jumping in and having fun with me because I think it's been fun and actually ended up being fun.
Yeah, it's been a ton of fun. I've very much enjoyed it because this is what, our third season we've shot here now? Yeah.
Third season, and it's like the 7th season overall. And I will be hitting my 100th episode this season, which is so wild. So super excited.
Cool. Well, I love having you here. I love conversating. I love being able to chime in when I can. Hopefully I don't talk too much.
No, please keep talking. I really do get tired of hearing myself. That's for sure. But okay, so just tell me this, and it's good segue. I'm going to transition. Is the word gaslighting a therapy term?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, because I don't know. I didn't know if it was or not. I've seen it like on the internet, and my therapist brought up gaslighting. So that's where we're going. Okay, so I hired a psychic before I hired a therapist. That's a true story. The therapy started first because the psychic was booked out. But I really do want to share that there were 4 people that I ended up bringing into my world in the past 3 months because, again, year of the snake, shedding some skin, and it just gets to feel a little bit uncomfortable when things are shifting. And here's the thing, like when you're manifesting with Feng Shui, this happens all the time to people inside the 12-month manifesting journey. This is why I have a 12-month manifesting journey, so I can help guide you through an entire year, because it's a process to really step into the version of yourself and experience the version of your life that you desire, right? And so many times, you'll claim what it is that you desire, but that is going to require you to let go of some of the old things that are holding you back, that no longer serve you. And that can be the uncomfortable part of manifesting with Feng Shui. And so honestly, it's hard to like identify the catalyst of like what this awakening was for me. That was almost going to be the title of this podcast episode, is like, are you having a soul awakening? But from like spiritual bypassing to real life transformation. And so what I think, one of the things that I did do is I have this like really intense karma clearing meditation that I teach inside of the Quantum Leaper Mastermind. And it helps you to clear negative karma from past lives, present, and future. And when you think about karma, it's like, it's a pattern, right? And so like you are a spirit having this human experience, and you're experiencing patterns. And how do we get out of the karmic loop? You have to have a pattern interrupt, right? Something has to stop it. Something has to change. And I think for me, what changed is just like I noticed the pattern that I was in. And so let me preface this by saying, like, I literally sat in this exact chair twice when I first came here in November, and then I came here again in February talking about the year of the snake and the predictions. And I have to be honest with you, I was a little bit smug. I was a little bit like in my head thinking like, okay, it's a 9 universal year of completion, year of change. For sure, this is the year that like my career totally evolves. Like I was like sitting here like in March or whenever I was here last in February, and I was like, you know what? I was kind of like shifting in my chair. I was like, I don't know what's going to happen with my job. I had a feeling that like maybe my role in public education, which I've been working in public education for 18 years, I was like, I think that this is it. Like this is the year it's going to shift, and it's going to be like totally divine, and it's going to be like not of my choosing, and I'm ready for it, right? I was like, I'm ready for any career changes that come my way. Totally prepared. Year of the snake. I'm just going to be like, this was meant to happen. And I'm going to like, one of the things I taught in Welcome the Wealth, every year I have this course called Welcome the Wealth, where I give you the predictions for the year. And I'm like, here's some quotes to live by. And one of my quotes is like, lift up the oars of your boat and just like see where the tide takes you. Okay. Well, guess what? Like nothing has changed in my career. Like literally, I'm like still going to be a social emotional learning coordinator at the district level next year, which is amazing. I love that role. I'm still Feng Shui practitioner, and all of that is the same. But what shifted for me definitely was just like I was noticing patterns in my own personal life, like in my home, in my relationship, in my marriage. And I think it's because I've spent so many years and I think a lot of you who have been here for a long time are going to be like very surprised about what I'm saying, because it's like I've been so hyper focused on like building my business, building my career, building wealth and abundance, right? Like that's my comfort zone. I was born on the 8th. 8 is a money number. Like I love talking about how you can manifest more money with Feng Shui. And luckily through Feng Shui, there's so many money adjustments. That's why most people hire me, is because they want more money, more abundance, and to like live that luxury lifestyle that they dream of. And it happens, and that's why Feng Shui is so exciting. But there's also this aspect of my life where I've just been like, I'm a mom. I have this household to run. I have this job. I have another career that I'm building. I'm looking, manifesting money, all the things. So then it kind of got to a head where I was just like, but like this piece of my life, which is, my marriage, I was like, just like let's sweep this under the rug, because feelings like who has time for that right now? It was just kind of like my way of like dealing with it. Just like, we'll get to that later, right? So essentially, when I went to therapy, first person I hired 4 people, therapist number 1. When I hire a therapist, I think this is what I want to bring to you. One of my biggest takeaways was so interesting because I believe that, I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. And I believe that relationships are a mirror, right? So like they're showing you opportunities that you have to grow and learn. And trust me, I've only had 5 sessions. There's a lot I need to do. But one of the biggest takeaways I would say through my new journey of therapy is I was gaslighting myself. So what does that look like? So gaslighting yourself looks like maybe you feel like you need, like, I'll just use my life as an example. Like, I need you to like say certain things or do certain things so that I feel maybe like seen and valued, right? But instead of being like, okay, Christina, like, okay, I would like him to do that or say that, instead of like communicating that with him, instead of that, I would just be like, I'm good. Like, I don't need that actually. Actually, this is like seriously so embarrassing, but it's hilarious at the same time. I have been so hyper independent for like a really long time. And I guess this is just a piece of self-awareness that I'm just now seeing. And I literally, like, I died laughing. I like saw this meme on, I saw this meme when I was scrolling social media. And it's like a picture of like a coffin rolling down the sidewalk of a cemetery. And it says like, me going to bury myself because I'm so independent. I was like, laughing out loud. I'm like, oh my God, that's like me. I'm like, I will do it myself. And Logan, I had to tell you something because I need a person to react to this freaking story. I'm in a mastermind myself. I'm in a business mastermind. And I was like on a call yesterday and I'm like, should I say this? Should I tell people this? They're like, yes, you have to say this. But I am so hyper independent that like I literally drove myself to the hospital when I was in labor with my second kid. It wasn't
I don't even know what to say to that.
It happened. So I was at work and I was like, okay, kind of having contractions, I think. It's my second kid. So like I knew what to expect. And I also know it takes like a long time to have a kid. So I'm like, they're kind of coming. I'm like, I'll be fine. I'm like, we don't need an ambulance. Like, I'm just going to bow out. I was an assistant principal. The students weren't in session yet. And I was like, I'm just going to go. I'm like, I'm just going to drive home. So I like start to drive and I'm like, no, I should probably just go straight to the hospital. And I literally drove myself to the hospital, got valet parking, and my husband met me there. Like, swear to God. And I was like, they're probably going to send me home because it's like so like I wasn't like, I definitely didn't think I was going to like have a baby on the side of the road. It wasn't like that. But like, yeah, that is literally like, Logan's like, I don't even know what to say to that. But that is how hyper independent I have always been. I don't even know it's like I don't want to like, it's not that I didn't want to like trouble anyone. I was just like, I'm good. I'm fine. I can do this. I'm sure they're just going to send me home anyway type of situation. So I think that that's definitely where, when you say gaslighting yourself, it like, it comes in play when you're just like, I don't necessarily want help from anyone else, and I'm not going to acknowledge what it is that I need because I can just take care of it myself type of thing. And maybe there's other excuses that you have. So I just wanted to share that piece because like I was not prepared to kind of uncover that about myself through this process. And it's been really, honestly, therapy, I had like a little stigma about it. I was like, I don't even know. Like, why do I have to do this? Like, I really just want to like go talk to my astrologer about what's going on. But I think that this is good because again, we are spirits having human experiences, and we need to be human, and we need to be able to communicate with other humans about things. And I think that this is definitely something that is like a huge realization for me. And I'm leaning into it. I'm open to it. And for you, I just want you to like acknowledge that where in your life, and it might not be a relationship, maybe it's in your career, maybe it's just like where you're living, your vocation, I don't know, whatever it is, where are you like maybe gaslighting yourself and being like, actually, like, I do want that, but I've been saying I don't want that for so long because I don't think it's possible. Or like, what is it that you really want in your life that you're just like sweeping under the rug because you just feel like it's too hard to get it? And maybe, again, you don't think it's possible for you. And so I'm really here just to tell you, like, sometimes you have to like take that step and get actual help from someone else. I'm not saying it has to be therapy, but you have to look at it from the human lens too. Like, the first step is claiming what it is you desire. And I do feel like with manifesting with Feng Shui, I feel like for my clients, like that's the biggest hurdle for them, right? It's like you have to be able to say what it is that you want. And that's like the biggest part of it. Set your intention is just claiming what it is that you want. Okay, moving on. Second, hired four people. Second thing that came into my life that I was just like, okay, universe. So I'm running the Quantum Leaper Mastermind, and I participate along with everyone in the Quantum Leaper Mastermind. So the second cohort started, interestingly enough, in March, so eclipse season. So March, April, May, I'm taking 6 women through the Quantum Leaper Mastermind. This is the second time I've done it. And during the Quantum Leaper Mastermind, we do this 27-day walkthrough where we go through all 9 areas of life and activate those spaces. And we set our intention for every single area. And one area in particular, which is like my favorite, is helpful people travel. So it's the front right area of your home when you walk in. And this is the space where you claim what it is that you need help with. So it could be anything. And I'll teach you a quick adjustment. I feel like I need to teach every episode. I need to teach you something. So the helpful people jar is one of my favorite adjustments to do. You get 1 jar, and if it's a circle, that's really, really good because it's going to go, it needs to be metal energy because it's going to go in helpful people travel. And then you get 3 pieces of paper. And on each piece of paper, you're going to write down today's date, and then you're going to call in helpful people. And the key with this is like you just describe what it is that you need help with. So on the helpful people piece of paper, you could say like, I call in a helpful person to help me navigate my finances and make the best business decisions. And then another piece of paper, like I call in helpful people to help with childcare, not only to take care of my children, but to elevate their life and make it even better when I can't be with them. And then, I call in a helpful person to help me to navigate any challenges that I'm having with fill in the blank, career, relationship, whatever. And you can describe the person, but again, you don't want to be specific. So it could be a person or group of people. Then you take those pieces of paper, put it in that jar, close the jar, and then place it somewhere. It could be behind a piece of furniture. It could be in a cabinet. It doesn't have to be like on display, like this is my helpful people jar. But you place that somewhere with your intention. And then as soon as that helpful person or group of people show up into your life, you can replace that piece of paper with something new. Because trust me, you will never run out of helpful people that you need. Like it could be handy people, like, people who are going to help with your plumbing, your electricity, like whatever. Anyway, so we had been doing this inside the Quantum Leaper Mastermind. That was just like one adjustment that we did to activate one area as we were going through all 9 guas. And during our calls in the Quantum Leaper Mastermind, again, I am a leader and a guide of the mastermind, sharing the most powerful wealth adjustments on the planet. But I'm also a participant. So at the beginning of our calls, I ask people to share their light and their dark. And the goal isn't like by the end of the mastermind, you don't have a dark, because one thing I've learned throughout this human experience is like, that's part of being human. There's always going to be duality. There's always going to be light and dark. And so sharing that with other people is just so powerful, because then it just creates a sense of connectivity and we can see that we all have a light and a dark. So anyway, during this call, I shared my light. My dark was very simple. I was like, well, and this, again, if you've been listening to this show for a while, like you're shocked that I'm even saying this out loud, because I would never, like, I just don't talk about this ever. And I don't even talk about it in my business masterminds. I don't usually talk about it in my Feng Shui masterminds, because it's just never been something that I've illuminated. And literally all I said, I was like, yeah, my dark right now is that I'm having a challenge in my relationship. And that was it. And so we moved on and we went through the program. Literally right after that call, Molly reaches out to me. Molly's one of the participants in the mastermind. She's worked with Terry Cole. She's been in Terry Cole's mastermind. If you're not familiar with Terry Cole's work, she talks about like high functioning codependency, and she's the best-selling author, things like that. And Molly messages me and she goes, Christina, like, I heard what you said on the call, and I just want to let you know, like, this is what I do. Like, I coach people through relationships and challenges. I was like, okay, that's what you do. She's like, I would just love to have a call with you, like no charge, nothing. I was like, okay, well, all right. This is how manifesting with Feng Shui works, right? It's like, okay, I did the helpful people jar adjustment, probably called in some help for some support, for some clarity. And then I get this like call, and it's like it's a life vest, right? And it's just like one of the mantras for 2025 that I shared at the very beginning of the year, unbeknownst to me that this would ever occur or come up. It's like, don't half-ass it, right? Like the theme this year is like, don't half-ass it. Whatever you do, just like go all in on it, because this is like not the year to play small. So I'm like, well, typically, like, I really do want to crawl under this chair right now, talking about having a relationship coach. Like, that's so not my comfort zone. But I was like, you know what? You're giving me this life vest. Like, well, let's try it. How can it hurt, right? And just like, if you're new to coaching and you don't know much about coaching, like what I can say, honestly, is like my experiences for over 2 years, I've had the most amazing business and life coach, Gabrielle Forleo. Hopefully she's listening. I love her so much. She worked with Deepak Chopra for over 17 years. She sat at tables with Deepak and David G. and Oprah Winfrey, writing meditations for their 21-day meditation challenge. If you remember when Deepak and Oprah did that. She's got all the things. She's got the business savvy, because she, increased sales by 400% when she took over the retreat department. And she's also got the mindfulness practices, the abundance mindset. And she's just a gem of a human. I met her at the perfect time. And she'll listen to anything I share with her, because if there's one thing I know for sure, being an entrepreneur has been one of the greatest self-development classes I've ever taken in my entire life. And so Gabrielle has helped me so much through that. So to double dip and have another coach, like a life coach / relationship coach, felt a little bit like, okay, another coach. Wasn't necessarily prepared for it, but this was something new that I had never tried before. And really what Molly has done for me, and I'll be honest, I'm a little bit quieter on our chat than I probably should be, but like she just opened up the door for me just to like share like my emotions, some of those impermissible feelings that just come up, and just validate the hell out of it. It's like amazing. And she just sees me and she listens to me, and the ups. Like this is, I think, why I love talking to a business coach. like about manifesting money and strategy and business. And I've been so hyper focused on like growing my business and growing my bank account for so long and helping you do the same, because it's like, to me, that's so logical and linear and like fun. And like talking about the other stuff, like the relationship stuff, it's just like so nonlinear. One thing she did share Terry Cole's podcast with me, and I still haven't listened to it yet. I'm probably an over functioning codependent, like that's the term, probably, but like I can only handle so much at once. So one of the things that Molly did introduce me to, which I can't really get into now, but I will tell you right now, listen to this podcast episode. It's Ansley McLeod was on Oprah Winfrey's Super Soul podcast, and he wrote a book called The Instruction, Living the Life Your Soul Intended. And it's about how we come into this world at a soul level. There's soul levels 1 through 10. And he instructs you on how to like tune into your guides to find out what soul level you are. Interestingly, Mother Teresa was only a soul level 3. Oprah, for reference, is a soul level 9. But the goal isn't necessarily, you don't, like my point in sharing, Mother Teresa was a soul level 3. It doesn't mean like the evolution is definitely different at each level, but here's why I'm sharing this. Like, of course I gravitate towards like the woo. I'm like, oh my God, I need to know more about the soul level. So I'm like on a mission right now to determine my soul level and figure this out, because obviously depending on your soul level, that can influence your relationships. So thank you, Molly, for that rec. And thank you for opening up a space for me that, again, was like super uncomfortable and still is, and still navigating all of those things. Okay. I feel like Logan is like 50 minutes in. Can I talk about the astrologer and psychic? And didn't we have like a few minutes at least running on the clock?
Yeah, there's maybe a couple minutes, but yeah, get in and do what you got to do.
Okay. Well, this is the fun part, talking about astrology and the astrology. I'm just going to like real quick, just quick update, because I want this to be applicable for you. Again, like going back to like the therapy, it's like I shared with you what I shared with you because I want you to look at your own life and just recognize, like, where are you gaslighting yourself? Where are you telling yourself that you don't need something that you actually do, right? And like talking about the life coach situation, like, I don't know if you want to pick up that soul book, but I really do recommend it. It's a total recommendation. Living the Life Your Soul Intended. It's called The Instruction. I'm like, it's in my bag right now. But moving into astrology, you know, I had 2 astrology readings recently, and let me just say, you know, Ophi from the Astro Twins is my girl. Wow, I first met Ophi or learned about Ophi when my husband gave me the book Momstrology when I was, you know, had Abby, my daughter, who's now 11, leaving elementary school. It's crazy. And I just remember really like following the Astro Twins and totally idolizing them. They've read chart, like Beyonce's chart. And like just last week, Ophi was reading Kate Hudson's chart. Like they're amazing. But yeah, Ophi is also very psychic and intuitive. So I was like, I need to talk to her again. And yeah, she just told me like I have like 1 million planets in my 12th house, which is like a spiritual house. So like, and you can't rush that. And then she was like, yeah, it makes sense that you're like calling me right now because like Uranus is on your north node, which that's the planet of like sudden change and revelation. And it's there till like 2026. So God knows what's going to happen in the next 2 years. But ultimately, like the message for the collective, what I want to share, and I love getting astrology readings. And I really do think as a Feng Shui practitioner, I do bring in astrology a lot because we do focus on 3 levels of energy in Feng Shui. We focus on our personal energy, and that's why I include meditations and visualizations in all of my programs, because it's the secret sauce. You have to balance your personal energy in order to attract what it is you want. Professor said you can move your furniture, but unless you balance your personal energy, you will not be as successful manifesting with Feng Shui. And then we also focus on environmental energy, which you're very familiar with, how you arrange your furniture, things like that. But then the third type of energy we focus on is the universal energy. So like moon phases impact universal energy. And I do believe that planetary movements influence us. And so as a Feng Shui practitioner, I was like, yeah, of course I'm going to tune in to what's the astrology saying. And it totally tracks with everything. So thanks, Sophie, for that. Adore you. And I'm so grateful for you. And then finally, this is where it's like, oh my gosh, I don't mean to be mean by saying this, but I really feel like I got so much from the 30-minute psychic reading, like probably more than I even got from therapy. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So it's just like my nature to like be drawn to this kind of stuff. And I really do want to tell you the message that I received. I think it could serve you. Hey, Logan, have you ever like had an experience with a psychic medium? This is like someone who like channels actual spirits. Like people came through that I knew from the other side.
No, I've never done it with a psychic medium before.
It was wild. I'm going to have to show you this video of like her like tuning in. It's so cool. It's like amazing. I'm still processing it. So I found Jenny Shanks because she's in my program, the 12-month manifesting journey. And I feel like if you're going to like hire somebody for this, it's like, you really want to know, like trust them, you know? And she's the sweetest thing. She's got like long blonde hair. She's got like a Southern accent. She's from Louisville, Kentucky. She's like the sweetest thing. And we just like dove right in. And she's like, 2 spirits are coming through. She's like, usually sometimes they'll tell me a name. They'll, tell me a month. The month is usually significant because it signifies their birthday or when they passed. So first spirit that comes through is my paternal grandmother, Dorothy, which I was not expecting because I was not as close to her. I was like, I literally, again, being smug, being like overly confident. I'm like sitting there like, okay, I'm ready to talk to my grandma, Veronica, because like I talk to her all the time. Like I'm always in constant communication with her. And she's just like, September. I was like, oh my God, that's Dorothy. She passed away in September. So she came through. Oh my God. And then very surprisingly, my high school boyfriend came through. And yeah, he passed away a couple years ago, like before he turned 40. And his name came through. It wasn't like S, it was like Steve. Steve? Who's Steve? He's like, he's giving me October. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, Steve's birthday was October 5th. My birthday was October 8th, and he passed away like the week of his birthday. He never got married, never had any kids. Otherwise, I would, of course, recognize them here and things like that. But I was like, okay, this is shocking. Like, what's happening? Why is this? Like, why is he coming through? And my grandmother gave me very clear, specific directions, like knew my father's name, like it all came out. And then Steve was like, she's like, but I got to go back to this Steve guy. She goes, it was almost as if when she was channeling him, like I could like see his mannerisms. I could like see him speaking through her. And she was just like, he's just like so fiery. He's got all this energy. She's like, he's just saying like, don't dim your light for anyone. Remember how much fun we used to have? Like, stop dimming your light. Like, you're so much fun. She's like, it's like he's trying to like tell you, like, you have like this inner child. And like, you need to like have more fun. Like, she's like, she keeps talking about like all the things you used to do, like this trip. You guys went on a trip. I'm like, yeah, like New York City. I'm like, when we graduated from high school, my friend Tom moved to New York City right after we graduated. And Steve, my friend Emily, and I, we were 19 years old. We flew to New York City to go visit my friend Tom. And I was like, yeah, New York City. She's like, yeah. She's like, remember that? She's like, he just keeps saying like, you just gotta stop dimming your light and just be you and just like have more fun. And I was like, oh, then he also said this. I'm like, glad I wrote this down. He's like, remember we used to laugh at the most random stuff? She's like, you would always be the one to play it safe. But now it's time for that fire and passion. I was like, okay, well, thanks for sharing that. But there was a lot more, but I won't get into it. And then Grandma Veronica did get into it at the very end. I was like, hey, like, I get it. Like if Gigi didn't come through, like, that's fine. I can accept that. But like, I'm like very close to her. And I just thought for sure she'd come in. And I was just wondering if she had any signs for me. And she's like, she didn't have anything direct to say to me. She's just like, I just keep seeing threes and triangles. I was like, okay, like whatever that means. But I will tell you this. Last night, I literally woke up and looked at my clock. It was 3:33. I was like, what the fuck? Oh my God. So I know she's with me. And that's honestly what I feel like that's what she wanted me to know. And I was in line at O'Hare and like it was like security checkpoint, fun stuff. And this guy like just starts talking to me. I'm wearing my Stevie Nicks shirt. He's like, who's that on your shirt? I'm just like, oh, you don't know this icon? I don't know if we could talk, but we just started a conversation. He was just getting back from Barcelona. The line's taking forever and he's talking about Barcelona. And then all of a sudden the lady behind me is like, hey, I was just in Barcelona. And we're just having this like random conversation. And all of a sudden she starts talking about, did you go to this sacred space where this guy was doing things with 33 and all these like, she starts talking about like the sacredness of the number. And I was just like, oh my God. I'm like, okay. So don't know why that number came through, but now it's like, obviously every time I see it, I'm like, ooh, okay, Grandma, you're here. Like you're with me. And I guess sometimes that's all they can do is like, just show you that like, here's to bring it back to all of us, because I really want this to be meaningful to you. It's not just about like, I mean, it was pretty wild, but I'm like, okay, how can this serve the listeners and viewers? Because now we're all also on YouTube, but how can this serve other people? And I just feel like if there was any doubt, and I feel like because you're here, you probably know that there is an invisible world. But if there's like any doubt in your mind that there's like another invisible force out there leading you, guiding you, protecting you, I just don't think you can doubt after hearing a story like that. Like, that's like why I'm like, I have got to share this. So all this to say, I really did try to infuse some of the Feng Shui aspects of my life here today. But ultimately, like, this is my way of opening up to you in season 7 and just sharing how, you know, when we start to call in really big things, and I swear to you, because I'm participating in the Quantum Leaper Mastermind and because I'm doing the most advanced wealth adjustments and because I'm doing these karma clearing adjustments, all of a sudden I'm just like, yeah, this feels very quantum. And I just want you to remember, like, when you are calling in big things, you are going to be called to evolve into another version of yourself, which is sometimes going to be uncomfortable. So hire the psychic before the therapist, but definitely, if you can, hire both. If you want to go to the astrology route, totally cool. Maybe even a coach, whatever works for you. But it really is my intention today and throughout the rest of the season to like really like peel back the curtains so that you can see my process to the evolution of my business and my life and how I've been using Feng Shui to truly help me to design the life that I know that I deserve as well. So if you're new here, make sure you get the free mini course because you can literally start manifesting with Feng Shui today. There's also a money meditation that actually, it helps you to connect with the wood energy. We are in the wood element year. So definitely download that and I will see you next time. Thanks, Logan, for being here.
Anytime.
All right. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. And I will see you next time where I will help you design the life you deserve. See you soon.